I'll second it.
Thank you, Alex. So it's been moved and seconded that we accept the minutes of the previous meeting. Any discussion, any questions, any corrections, any comments? Hearing none. All those in favor of accepting the minutes as submitted, please signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you. All opposed? I always forget that part. Jeff, you don't want to oppose it or anything? Okay. Be a good news story. All right. So the chair's report is going to be very brief this morning, and I'm sure you're all greatly disappointed to hear that. But it's, Diane and I were talking earlier, it's been quite a year. And, we don't know what's in store. It's probably a good thing we don't know. But in any event, we are moving on, and I think it was absolutely the right decision to delay the opening of the spring semester for a number of reasons. It's, everything has to shift, the calendar shifts, the classes shift. But once again, we have proved that we are capable of turning on a dime. The old notion about trying to turn a battleship in a bathtub. It's not easy, it's not pretty, but when it's necessary, and it is, as we all strive for, in the best interest of the students and the college. So thank you to everybody for being flexible. I want to personally welcome Phil Neiser back to Potsdam. And Phil, when you give your report, if you wouldn't mind taking a few minutes and give us just the Cliff Notes version of your biography and your connection to Potsdam for anyone who's here who didn't know you back in the day. It wasn't that long ago. And I'm sure you've met Nick, our SGA president, and I'm sure that you guys will have a great relationship. Same with Blair and the faculty senate. After John passed, a lot of people came up to me and said, maybe we really need somebody internal, somebody that knows us. And Blair was particularly concerned about who comes next. And I told Blair, because at the time, Phil's coming over back to Potsdam wasn't official. And I said, I think you and I think the campus is going to be pleased because we do have somebody who knows us and who's been there and who cares. I have had a lot of loss in the past couple of months. My husband lost a brother and a sister. So I've been at a loss for words, and those of you who have known me for a long time know that's fairly unusual. But I can't wrap my head around everything that has happened and is happening now. But we are moving forward. We have 200 years of experience. Well, not me personally, although it seems like that. So we have a strong foundation. And a huge part of that foundation are our people. To know Potsdam is to love it. And we all do. And that love isn't just a passing fad. People come back. They send their children. They send their grandchildren. The faculty comes and stays. Because even though they might have been a little bit nervous about, I'm going where? As I was when I came up here for my audition for Crane from Long Island. I frankly didn't know that there was that much open space left in New York. Because between growing up in Queens and Long Island, and then driving on the bus all night from the depot in New York City and seeing basically nothing but trees and space. And I was worried. But again, the Potsdam family took me in. And once I got used to the fact that there were no strapless bras to be bought in St. Lawrence County for the Winterfest, I got used to it. And if anyone had told me then that I would have married someone who was born in St. Lawrence County and be getting ready to celebrate our 56th anniversary in a couple of weeks, I would have told them they were crazy. It wouldn't be possible for me to live this far from a store. In any event, I told you it was going to be brief. That was longer than I planned on talking. One other thing, the governor's budget is very good for SUNY. And the SUNY Board of Trustees has indicated that what they want to do for their advocacy is they want to advocate for the governor's proposed SUNY funding. So sometimes when the executive budget comes out, everybody, especially our finance people, get nervous and jerky about it. Because even though that doesn't get down to the campus level, if you're starting out with a not so favorable budget, there's reason for concern. So this year, I'm pleased that we're not starting out in the negative column. Now, it's a long way between now and April 1st, and the legislature will do what the legislature will do. But keep that in mind, and let's move forward and be positive. So thank you very much. And now it is my pleasure to turn it over to Dr. Phil Neiser. February must be Phil's month. There was some news about that on April 2nd, or April. I'm wishing February 2nd, right? That was Phil's day.
Oh, my first day?
Oh, that's okay. Go ahead, Phil. It's all yours.
Phil's day, Groundhog Day, I'm confused. Yeah. Yeah, that was actually quite eloquent, even though you said you were at a loss for words about Potsdam and what it is and what it's been. And it's amazing how when an institution is great, it carries forward and continues that way because it's in the people, it's in the culture, it's the shared practices, the level of care of the people for each other gets passed on. And that's here now. And one reason I was so happy to be able to come back here and also to serve in this role. And thank goodness for the people, because yeah, we have challenges ahead of us. About myself, my Cliff Notes biography. I'll send you a link later to Cliff Notes. Let's see. I rode my bicycle up to SUNY Potsdam from West 77th Street in Manhattan in 1975 in order to go to college. Not sure why I was doing that a lot then, but I was. I had been a bicycle messenger down there. So I'll jump right ahead to becoming a faculty member here, I guess, which was full-time, 1989. I had been an adjunct before and served 29 years as a full-time faculty member, I think that long, and also was half-time the Associate Dean of Arts and Sciences and had some other roles. So served in a variety of capacities, was looking to stay the administrative side. And there was a dean position open at SUNY Canton. So you all know, I think you know, I went over there for 3.5 years, I think, the dean of the School of Business and Liberal Arts at SUNY Canton. And enjoyed that a lot. What a jewel in the North Country, really, with great people there as well that I really knew very little about. But it's so good to be back here. So I didn't hesitate. And I didn't hesitate when the chancellor called me. Phil, are you interested? Yes, I'm interested. So here I am. I guess that's, you know, I could, enough about me. If you maybe you also want to know that I've studied deliberative democracy and dialogue democracy, and I'm bringing those tools of deliberation, dialogue, working together across divisions to my work here. And I think that resonates with what other people are doing. So it's been working well so far. Boy, I'm learning a lot fast. I have a little presentation. Some of it, I think you already know or will get said by others today. So some of it I can be very brief about. And maybe now I should share my screen to start it. Officially, where is it? Of course, if you object, speak up. Here we go. Share. All right. So how does that look? Tolerable? Okay.
Looks good.
Okay. So the CDO search was already mentioned. Yes, we have the 3 candidates coming, and this is a continuation of the search that happened last semester, that started last semester. So there is a 4th candidate who presented last semester in the mix as well, and I'm looking forward to meeting all of those people. And very excited that we're going to get a new CDO, or at least I'm hoping, and I think we can be hopeful that it will be a successful search. We have really good candidates. And my thanks to Gretchen, thank you, Gretchen, and to Deb Conrad as well for chairing that search committee and persevering there, because it's been a lengthy road. What was a search last year and so forth. And then my kudos to Sal Kania, who is going to retire after years of service as the Vice President for Advancement. Another class of 79 graduate like me. So my fellow alum, that was a great year, 1979. And thank you, Sal. I don't know if Sal is here or not. So the search, the position has been approved, and the search is going to happen, and we'll start sometime soon. And as for a presidential search, I'll leave that to you, June, to update if you wish. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So what else? Middle States review. We're moving along. The SUNY Potsdam self-study that's required, which has 5 chapters, I think. We're using the priorities approach, will be submitted shortly. I met online. I met Dr. Emily Williams, who is the leader of the review team. She's quite amazing. She seems quite amazing. She's very impressive. She's really looking to help us and provided great guidance so far. I want to thank Julie Dold and Gordon Plague for being co-chairs of the process of creating the self-study. It's really quite a heavy lift. All these volunteers that I won't list all their names, all the people who are involved in the process. There's a committee for each chapter of the self-study. There's the steering committee. My thanks to everybody. So we'll get some useful feedback from that review, I'm sure. Let's see what else. I should look at my notes in case there's something I want to make sure I say. Yeah, so President Graham, when he was here, hey, are you guys seeing the notes? Do you want me to get rid of the notes there? Those little, but you can see the slides big enough, right? Yes, June?
Yes.
Work? I realize you're seeing a different view than maybe you want to see. Anyway, I don't know if I can fix that now. The Change Makers and Innovators project resulted in 17 listening sessions, people talking across divisions at the college. What can we do differently? How can we improve? What are some great ideas for SUNY Potsdam when it comes to enrollment enhancement or otherwise improving what we do? And over 50 proposals were collected. So the next step is to categorize ideas. Actually, that's underway, and then present them. They'll get presented to me, and then my commitment is to follow up on every idea somehow, and then report on that. So people who submitted ideas know they got listened to, even if some ideas, okay, we can't do that, that's not our mission. Or we can't afford that, we're not for now, but this one is a great idea. That one we can shepherd to these people in order to move it forward and so on. And I'd like to institutionalize some process like this where every year or so, a representative team is considering new initiatives or enrollment enhancement ideas. So we'll see about that. So that's underway. Let's see if I can fiddle with my screen here a little bit. Because anyway, oh well, I wanted to get a different view. The strategic plan. SUNY Potsdam doesn't actually have a strategic plan. We have a strategic plan roadmap, a 2018 roadmap, and we should create a strategic plan. Get started on that sometime soon, maybe a 5-year strategic plan, for example. So this is just me thinking ahead as to how we might do this. And it might not start till the fall, but my thought is that and I'll consult with Blair and the entire faculty senate about this, right? Work together to plan our way forward, create a representative team, use the Middle States findings, the college vision and mission, the roadmap, student survey data, and so forth, and draft a plan and submit it to the entire college and have the appropriate discussions and finalize it, right? And we want a plan that includes a process for using the plan with deadlines, with lines of responsibility, so that it's actually used to guide what we do, okay? The budget. So this is the big challenge. I was going to say the $1 million question, but maybe it's more than 1 million, right? The academic realignment effort started by President Graham has continued, and my kudos to the deans and Betty and Alan Hersker as well. That academic leadership team, academic affairs, for working very hard, and for that matter, my kudos to all the chairs of all the departments who submitted these detailed sheets about their programs as part of this process. People did a lot of work for us so we can consider realignment, ways to align our programs, to realign what we offer academically in order to put the resources we do have towards the growth areas, the higher enrollment areas, and the like, right? And on February 17th, Betty and I are going to present to the faculty the plan. The plan includes a plan, like certain things, this is what's going to happen, and also recommendations and ideas for where to go from there for further planning. Okay, so to be continued. And on the 24th, there'll be a follow-up. There'll be a question and answer meeting, which is a normal procedure to periodically have a question and answer meeting where the faculty can speak to the administration and we can converse with each other. That meeting is scheduled for a week later, and possibly a lot of questions will be about the plan, because the entire plan will be released to the campus, not just the summary that we give right after the meeting on the 17th. Okay, so that's the plan there. And what else? June, you asked about the Hearth project. Whoops, sorry. And I found some materials on the web, and because I knew about it, but I wanted to get some language. The press release that was put out there is right there, so you can read it. There's a building over by the daycare center. There's a wind turbine there. generating electricity. And under construction is this heritage-based living laboratory, which will be used for all sorts of hands-on workshops and applied learning experiences. This is led by the Department of Anthropology and the archaeologists in particular. Cider making, tanning, a variety of practices will go on there, teaching, internships, and the like. Next slide, please. Okay. I can't see part of my own slide. There, that helps. Yes, this is part of the newly established Marquessy Center. So I'm sure many of you or all of you know Steve Marquessy, who is an anthropologist and an archaeologist. And the center, the Marquessy Center is of course named after him. And thank you, Steve. And that's wonderful and it's so called for. And we also have to thank Donald and Catherine Kofed Lougheed for their support, which is funding, a pillar of the funding of this project. So that's great. Enrollment, fall freshman applications are up over 2021. 3.5%. They're actually up more than that if you exclude EOP, and EOP is down across the state and even at the privates right now. So in terms of how well we're doing considering the conditions, it's more like the 10% number. We need a lot more enrollment growth than that, by the way, to solve our budget problem, but that is a step in the right direction. And so that's good news. And Pat Quinn and the team are doing a great job. The new Slate software that we have, the platform, is really powerful in automating a lot of the enrollment, the recruiting activity, and for example, drip messaging and all that stuff that I'm learning about. Marketing, new and online programs. I don't know what that slide's doing there. Okay, next slide. The World University Games is coming to SUNY Potsdam. I don't know if you know about this. You might have already heard something about it in the press. It's already starting to be in the press. Certain contractual elements of this are not finalized yet, but they will be. We're getting a lot of support from New York State. So the World University Games is apparently huge, Olympic-like event. It hasn't. The Winter Games haven't been held in the United States since I think sometime in the 70s. These games are going to be especially centered in Lake Placid, but activities will take place down in North Creek, and there'll be hockey games at SUNY Potsdam, SUNY Canton, and Clarkson. So we're definitely hosting hockey games. And the contract isn't finished yet about the Athletes Village, but it will happen. We will be the host of the Athletes Village. Because we have the room, and specifically Knowles Hall is going to be refurbished and repaired, and we will, in the amount we charge for the use of the rooms, get back the money to fix up Knowles and then some. Right, so this is amazing publicity, international publicity for SUNY Potsdam. And it's going to bring us some revenue as well. And so I got to thank Pat O'Brien, our Director of Environmental Health and Safety, for the work that he's done on this. And also Nosley, thank you, Nosley, for the work you've done on this. So that's very exciting. The semifinal and final games of the hockey competitions will be in Lake Placid. But a bunch of women's games will take place at SUNY Potsdam. What else? Commencement ceremony is proceeding as hoped. That is, Bernie Williams said, yes, I can come on the new date as well as on the date that was to be because of the calendar change. So our commencement speaker will be Bernie Williams, the retired Yankees center fielder. And I think there'll also be a concert. He's an accomplished jazz guitarist. So great stuff. Yeah, and that's what I got.
Okay, thank you, Phil.
Yeah.
Any questions for Phil? Anyone? Well, I have two. So I guess
Uh-oh.
I'll ask them. You mentioned on February 17th that you and Betty are going to be presenting the the realignment plan to the
Mhm.
faculty.
Right.
Is that going to be online? Could council members log in to hear it or see it?
It is an online meeting.
Is it regular faculty senate meeting?
It's a regular faculty senate meeting.
Okay, so that
Perhaps then
answers
it's
the
a question
question.
for Blair, really.
So that
So-
answers it.
So faculty senate meetings, this faculty senate meeting and all of our faculty senate meetings this semester, unless otherwise noted, are being held over Zoom. And
Mhm.
faculty senate meetings, as always, are open to any member of the campus community. So
Thank
June,
you.
I know, June, that you are on my list, that you get the notices that I send out.
Right.
If you want, or Diane wanted to share that with all of the council members, in case any of them wanted to tune in, we'd be most happy to have them.
Okay, thank you. Can you take care of that, Diane? I'm sure
Yes,
she
I'll
will.
take care of it. I'll send it out to everyone.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I have one other question. It's about the World University Games.
Hmm.
And as a former craney myself, the first thing that came to my mind is, do we have any opportunity at these hockey games to include Crane? I mean, you know, we were the music for the 1980 Olympics. So it would seem like there might be some place for Crane in the World University Games, either in Potsdam or Placid.
Oh, that's a thought, you know. Do you remember Yo-Yo Ma playing for the inauguration of Barack Obama? He
Yep.
was really, really cold, and it was an issue. They had little heaters hidden and everything because they were outdoors in, was January, right? And he
Yes,
had
it was
that-
cold.
And so hockey arenas can be chilly, but yes, maybe we could do, that's a great idea, June.
You know, I mean, if we could do something in Maxie,
Mhm.
the acoustics aren't the best, but it is.
That's
But
another
to me,
statement, but
it's
yes.
just another opportunity to
Yes.
show
Yeah.
off,
Yeah.
frankly. And to
Um,
people who ordinarily wouldn't see or hear about it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
Okay.
we'll talk about it. We'll see.
yeah,
Sounds good. I'd be interested in exploring that possibility.
yeah. A little assignment for you. Welcome again to Potsdam. Anybody else have questions?
Can I chime in for a second there, June? When it comes to, you know, music in the World University Games, I assume that once, you know, the details and the contract is worked out for us hosting the Athletes Village on campus, that, you know, there'd be lots of opportunity for all of us to think about offering, whether there might be musical performances, whether there might be other events that to entertain the athletes when they're not busy training.
Yes,
And maybe that's appropriate, maybe it's not, but I'm looking forward to, as we get to that stage, finding out more about it.
yeah,
Those are good thoughts. I think that a bunch of young athletes housed in Knowles and their competitions don't keep them busy all day long. We want to keep them busy with performances and stuff. I think
Yeah.
that's a great idea.
yeah,
We give them activities. There will be game rooms provided for the athletes. The World Games organization has got a lot of good plans as to what's needed to make it all work, and they will provide support. There'll be state troopers helping to provide security. There's a lot of ways the state is supporting this. By the way, I didn't mention that before.
and
That's a
in
good
that
idea, Blair.
athletes village, there might actually be some musicians. You know, music and athletics aren't,
True.
you know what I'm trying to say? You can do both.
A la Bernie Williams, proof of that, right? There you go.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. That's great, okay. So it just, Phil reminded me that I didn't give you an update on the presidential search. I have been talking with Zuleika, who is the chancellor's liaison to presidential searches. And we are in the very, very beginning stages of this. So I hope by our next meeting, which by the way is April 1st, so no jokes. The meeting is April 1st. In case you didn't get that. Well, Nick got it. I see him laughing. April Fool's Day. But as I mentioned before, the presidential search process is not only important for obvious reasons, it's also fairly complicated. But the fact that we're doing most things virtually makes some things easier. So it'll be theoretically easier to get the search committee together. And instead of doing telephone interviews with prospective candidates to help narrow the field, we'll be able to do Zoom meetings, which in interviews are preferable to just a plain old telephone. Blair and I need to talk with Zuleika so that we can set up the process for the faculty elections, because the requirement is 6 full-time teaching faculty. And I'm trying to work out, and when we meet with Blair to talk about it, one of the issues is that our faculty senate, unlike some campuses, includes not just teaching faculty. So we have to figure out how we're going to do that. She sent me 1 or 2 samples of how other campuses dealt with it. One of them had people were elected to like represent this group of people, and then someone would represent that group of people. And some places let the non-teaching faculty vote for the teaching faculty, and some have other ways of doing it. So that's going to take a while. And we've also had 1 or 2 people express concerns about the number of presidential searches that are ongoing right now, and whether this is a good time to jump into the pool, or whether we might elect people and not start the search until the fall, that we could at least get the committee in place. And I've also talked to Phil about one of the things that we have to deal with is that the cost of the presidential search is borne by the campus. And it's not cheap. And it's different than it has been in the past, in that SUNY has a contract with a search firm, RPA. I can't remember what it stands for, but I know they were one of the people that 7 years ago bid to be our consultant. Oh, Alan's got a cat too. Hi, kitty. So if you haven't heard anything in a little while, this is why. We've got to get all the pieces in place. And I want to stress again, there'll be 4 members of the College Council, 6 full-time teaching faculty. I honestly don't have the list with me, but then there's a representative, 1 dean, a representative from alumni, 1 student, one professional person, non-teaching faculty, be the people who aren't teaching faculty, and 1 or 2 others, but it's pretty well scripted who has to be represented on the committee. And that the last time, I know Harold was on that committee with me, we had to develop an RFP and go out for bids for the search consultant. And there was, the choice was which one do you pick, but it was really governed by the low bids and what it was that we said, what the requirements were. This time we will use RFP, and they sort of have an à la carte, a list of services that you can contract with them for, you know, from them doing everything to them only doing certain parts of it. You know, the pool is always the big, because if you don't have a good pool, then you're really in trouble. So that's where we are right now. And we will keep you posted. Now we're going to move along to our standing reports. And first at bat is Blair Medora. Go ahead, Blair.
Thank you, June, and thank you to everybody. I know I'm not usually first at bat, so I'll just explain for the rest of you that I asked June if I could speak early because I teach a class at 11 and another class at noon. And I really don't want to miss my classes as much as I know it's important to be here with all of you.
No, it's really because Blair is on the next flight to Hawaii, him in a shirt. For those of you that don't know, Blair, Friday is Tropical Shirt Day.
My students like it. Tradition started a long time ago, and now if I don't wear it, they complain. So I have to keep it up. My report, there's a written report. I'm sure you've seen it. There's not too much to say there that you haven't heard in other places. I just want to emphasize just what a difficult place most of our faculty are in at the moment. In fact, I'm sure all of you have been in difficult places. You know, as June alluded, I know I have been. The amount of loss in my personal life in the last few months has been tremendous. The amount of loss we've all dealt with throughout the pandemic has been tremendous. And we have kept rolling to the best of our abilities. And we've done some great things, but we're not through this yet. There's no normal yet. And we continue to deal with tremendous change. The academic realignment, the budget cuts that we know are necessary. You know, this is all weighing very heavily on the faculty on our campus, and therefore everything that we do becomes more challenging at times. So I just wanted to, if that wasn't already in your mind, just to put that out there. The one other thing I'd like to mention in my report is I had the privilege of representing the college at the funeral of Dr. John Graham. Diane Marie was there, Nasli was there, Dr. John Youngblood from English and Communication was there, and also Roy Smith from the Physical Plant. And it was very, I don't know, heart-wrenching, maybe is one word to put for it. But at the same time, I was very proud of all of us. And I was very, I can't emphasize enough for those of you that don't know or how much Dr. Graham and his family embraced this campus. When we walked into the church, the very first thing we were confronted with was a very large, it was a blanket, but it was a photo display on a blanket that included a big picture of Dr. Graham with Satterley Hall in the background and the SUNY Potsdam logo right there. So SUNY was incredibly important to this man. Our campus was incredibly important to this man and his family, despite the short amount of time that he was with us. It was really amazing. I want to put a shout out to Sal and Ria from the Foundation and College Advancement. They were, as you probably know, the Faculty Senate voted on a resolution to recommend that the Chancellor make Dr. Graham the official president of SUNY Potsdam posthumously. And we were quickly joined by the foundation and alumni boards, and also the President's Council, the Black Faculty Caucus, a number of other groups chimed in to lend their support. And eventually the trustees did, in fact, do this. And it's tremendously important, I think, to us, to his family, to everyone. I really want to shout out to Sal and Ria because they provided us with a printed copy of the foundation and alumni board resolution that we were able to present to his family at the dinner after the funeral. And I can't emphasize how much that meant to his family. His daughter, once she got her hands on it, didn't let it go for well over an hour. She clutched it to her chest the entire time. So it was a tremendously moving moment, and one that maybe wouldn't have happened without Sal and Ria's diligence. I just want to make sure you all know about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Blair. Any questions, comments? Thank you very much. And I also want to thank the members of the College Council who contributed to the floral display that we sent to the funeral. Moving on the agenda, Nick Hausman. How are the students doing?
Hi. Students are doing well. You know, a lot of students are still adjusting to the starting late, and but students are happy to be back with their friends. That was the biggest thing, that, you know, being away for 2 weeks more than before, you know, students have had a lot of loss. There's been a lot, but they're just happy to be back together. And that's really the main thing. You know, we're able to take our experiences that may not be the best, and we're able to use those to enjoy the better moments even more. So I'll keep it brief and short, but thank you.
Okay, and Nick's report is on page 13 of your packet. If you want to see anything further, and you can always contact Nick. He's very good about getting back to you. So thank you, Nick. All right, next is Provost Betty Bergeron.
Wonderful to see everybody this beautiful wintry morning. Again, my report is also in the packet, so I don't want to take time by going through that. But I do want to welcome Dean Gibbons to this body. We're so very glad to have Will on board, so welcome. And to also, of course, thank David Heiser for stepping in last spring during an extraordinarily difficult situation for the campus and specifically for Crane School. So I've really appreciated David's leadership as well, and the chance to work with him in that capacity. And then, of course, to welcome Phil back home to campus, and particularly as a member of our academic affairs family. So glad to have him back here on campus. So welcome back home, Phil.
Thank you so much, Betty. Yes, academics, the heart of our mission. Absolutely.
Any questions for Betty? Comments? Whatever. All right, thank you very much. And now I'll turn it over to Josie La Rochelle. And those of you that haven't met Josie, she is our regional financial officer. Did I get it right?
You did. You did.
She's at SUNY Plattsburgh, but we won't hold that against her. Another one of our sister institutions.
I'd say I serve 2 campuses, and my heart is in 2 places. Yes. So good morning, everyone. And my report is also in the document that was shared, the packet for the meeting. It starts on page 17. It is basically a copy of a campus communication that I sent out to the entire faculty staff on, I believe it was Wednesday, to just give an update. As June had already indicated, the state of New York budget was filled with good news and not bad news, which was great. And so we want to make sure that we share that information with our campus individuals. And then to provide a little bit of context for how the college is proceeding with developing the budget for next year. It's a significant challenge as it's change. You know, I'm new to the campus and supporting the campus, and so bringing together a different kind of process that has been used in the past years to undergo a budget process, which is for all of you on the call who've been asked to undertake this challenge, including Phil, who we just spoke about, the challenge of trying to meet any reductions in the president's office. This is a significant challenge. We're trying to become financially responsible in kind of a progression mode. Let's see what we can do for this coming year. We have targeted reductions of $1 million in the non-instruction side and another $1 million in the instruction side. And I say targeted because this process is going to tell us what we can do and what we can achieve. And then hopefully prepare us with a greater understanding of our resources and our resource allocation and the limitations to then be able to align the colleges better as we move towards a new strategic plan and the academic realignment plan. And so with that, I'll just ask if there's any questions.
Thanks, Josie. Questions? Yes, it hasn't gone, the challenge hasn't gone away.
No,
It continues.
thank you.
Thank you. And thanks to everybody for doing their part. It's not easy, it's not pretty, but it's needed. So now we will go to Melissa Prue. Hi, Melissa.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. So I wanted to highlight a few items in my report that as well as included in the packet. We have actually transitioned all of our employee testing to our on-site clinic that's in Merritt Hall. And we're actually testing all employees this coming Monday, February 7th. So that is working out very well. We have increased in vaccination rate since the last time we spoke. We're at approximately 86%. And I'm sure that's going to change as the academic or teaching faculty requirement will come out with the mandated vaccine. HR completed the UUP salary compression study in December, so that is done and complete. Title IX is reporting to the administrative division now, so Andrea Waters is reporting to me. And the next major renovation with facilities is Carson Hall. So that is planned to begin just after commencement. So that's the next big project on campus. And I can take any questions.
Questions? Comments? I'd just like to say thank you to Melissa and Mindy for all the help that they provided in doing the week of mourning for Dr. Graham. Press releases and the things that needed to be put together, and they did a great job on short notice. And even while Mindy was homesick, she was really working. So thank you both for that. Okay, I know Sal is not here today. His report was contained or is contained on page 20. Diane, is anybody else going to talk from the advancement or no?
No.
Okay. All right. So now, and I realize in looking at this, I don't know that I said hello, Patrick, when we were beginning, but hello, Patrick. And now he's going to tell us about all the great things that are going on in enrollment management. No pressure.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm motivated to get to commencement because I'm a huge Yankee fan and Bernie Williams. And quite honestly, most of my following Bernie Williams in the last couple of years has been his classical guitar and his performances. He's, he's just a great, obviously a great talent athletically, but a great human being, great ambassador for Puerto Rico and for other folks. So I'm excited to be able to maybe even have a drink or a dinner with him at some point when he visits. Yeah, you've got my report, and Dr. Nicer had shared some good things. I just want to hit on a few key highlights. Obviously, our applications, our freshman applications are trending up, as are our acceptances, which is critically important at this time of the year. Couple that with the fact that our financial aid packages for new students started going out 2 weeks earlier than they did last year. And we will actually be all caught up with every single student who submitted a FAFSA to us that has been accepted. We'll be all caught up with packages by next week, which is also a key. The third key area to focus on is what we did differently this year with our scholarship programming. We used to require students to submit a scholarship application to be considered. Even if they were admitted back in October, November, December, the application deadline was in March. We didn't really review for scholarships until March, and it really dragged out the process. And quite honestly, our primary competitors, both in the public and private sector, are doing the process without a scholarship application. So we eliminated that barrier this year, and we sent out scholarship notifications in early December via email. And the real positive to that was that 90% of those emails were opened up by students. So you know they were interested in the subject line. They got information about a scholarship much earlier in the cycle for us. And again, that's a key motivator to keep students engaged once they're accepted, so that we can get them to the next key point is our spring yield events, our accepted student day events, our multicultural weekend. All of those are in the planning process. We're pretty well set with accepted student days. We've done a lot of good work with the deans and the departments to really make this set of accepted student days focused on the academic piece, which is critically important for students and families. The other piece of our accepted student days, we're separating students and parents so that the students are really going to be the focus of the academic units. The parents are going to be the focus of some academic, but also student life, financial aid, all of those critical components that parents really ask questions about as well. So accepted student day on March 26th and also on April 23rd. And our plan for a multicultural weekend to bring it back to campus live in person for students, if everything goes well, is going to be April 7th through the 9th. And those activities will really drive our deposits. I told Phil when I met with him this past week that usually by the end of March, early April, if you're sitting in a good position with your deposits, that's pretty much where you can expect to be come the start of the academic year. So everything we're doing is focused on driving students to stay engaged through email communications, through other forms of communication, get them to visit campus again, and in some cases the first time, and really get them to make that commitment as early as we can, because we know the three keys are the earlier the application, the earlier you get your financial aid paperwork out, and the earlier students visit your campus, that will be the primary indicators that they will actually enroll. So I think we're standing in a pretty good position right now with the new students coming in. Of course, I don't want to forget about the transfer students. You know, we're a little bit behind. You know, it's not a significant amount, 20 applications. Percentage-wise, it might look bigger than it is, but we are engaged with Jefferson Community College in a kind of a renewed kind of partnership to not only target current students, but also to go after some additional transfer students, both from Jefferson and maybe in some joint recruiting efforts. So I think, you know, we're pretty well covered on the undergrad side. On the graduate side, you know, Alan and his team have been part of multiple meetings and conversations with our slate guru, which is Janie Riley. We have a second marketing meeting with undergrad and grad admissions and Mindy and Nasli to really target what's the population that we can really affect most of our change moving forward for the fall, and that's transfer, new programs, both grad and undergrad, and graduate students. So a lot of our marketing initiatives will target those groups because we're in a better position to still attract a good number of applications. So That being said, I'm pleased to take some questions at any point now or, before the meeting closes.
Thanks, Pat. Questions, comments? Congratulations on the getting everything caught up next week. That's tremendous to hear. And it's a very good omen, shall we say, for what's coming. So I think that's great. I had something written down. Oh, I know. So as part of, I didn't make any of the listening sessions. I apologize for that. It just didn't work out. But one idea that I've had for quite a while, and it has to do with enrollment, and I really feel that our admissions office physical space needs some attention. And people can agree or disagree. But having taken my granddaughter almost 3 years ago around to a few different colleges, I mean, that's the first impression, is the admissions office. So I'm just throwing that out there in the spirit of what can we do better, different. I'm not suggesting that we turn it into the Taj Mahal or anything, but I think it could be a little more attractive, inviting. So I'm just throwing it out. I'm not giving out assignments. I just think that it's important. We can't move ours on the river like some campuses have theirs, and not this river. But anyway, that's enough from me. And
That's okay. We actually, June, let me just address that quickly. We have made some improvements to just outside of the admissions office and inside, but Mindy might be able to speak in a little bit more detail, but there was a project on the books for last year. It got postponed. So this summer is a time when we're going to be doing some upgrades to the admission space in the lobby area. Mindy might be able to speak about some detail, but we're moving in that direction. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
good, thank you. Mindy?
Yeah, that actually was the plan. I'm not sure if it's still going to happen. Melissa actually is the person that would be able to tell us, but there were plans to make it a glassed-in lobby, like a storefront, and really expand the entrance into Raymond. We have redecorated the lobby in Raymond itself, so that does look better. But yes, there were big plans, and I hope they're still happening. But Melissa?
2 thumbs up. There's still big plans. Yep.
Yes, but are they happening?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. Appreciate it. I think it's just one more thing. Not that we don't have enough to do already. Okay, so last but not least, Eric is going to give the report on student affairs.
Thank you, June, and good morning to everybody. A couple of things I would highlight both in my report and a couple of others. As you all have been accustomed to hearing COVID updates from me and students, I'll start with that. I believe everybody knows the governor announced prior to the start of the spring semester that boosters would be required of all SUNY and CUNY students. I'm pleased to report that over 1,500 of our students have complied with that and have submitted their booster information, which is terrific. We had a booster clinic on campus Monday the 31st and had almost 150 students attend that, and we have a second one planned for the end of February. We have about 260 students that are not yet eligible for the booster. They have to wait 5 months after their last dose. And so we'll be continuing to work with those students throughout the course of February and into early March. So the numbers are really good with students' compliance and response with the booster mandate from the state. Similar to Melissa's comment, we are also moving all student testing over to the state site that's in Merritt Hall. It's run by Quadrant Labs, so it's really a seamless transition and allows us to focus in on other things and not have to get volunteers for weekly testing. Our testing plan for students is we will be testing our students who have approved religious and medical exemptions every week. We have 44 students in that category right now. And then we do have some students who are eligible for boosters, but have not yet either given us their booster vaccine records or have not yet received their vaccine. So those students, while they remain unboosted, will also be testing every week to ensure their in campus safety. One of the things that was mentioned in relation to the delayed start of the semester and our change in our college calendar was we ended up having to remove 2 days in April that were slated to be break days. And so thankfully we were able to keep the week in March, but we know that student and employees, mental health is really important. And we got a lot of pushback in past semesters when we needed to change calendars and not have any breaks at all. So in recognition of the fact that we did have to remove 2 break days to make sure we had the proper number of instructional days, we have had a group that includes on this call NASLI that has been working to plan some wellness and recharge activities, not only give for the week of April 11th, but also throughout the course of the semester. And we have it's still in the planning stages, but we have a great slate of activities that we're working on, and we're using some of our HERF 3 funding in order to support that. You may recall that campuses received this 3rd round of COVID called HERF 3 funding, and SUNY asked campuses to use 5% of those funds towards COVID-related mental health activities. And so for our campus, that's about $316,000. It's a significant chunk of money. We've been using that for staff training, equipment, and we're also using that to help fund some really terrific activities. As that schedules get solidified, we'll make sure that College Council is aware of those. Not on my report, I just wanted to mention I'm thrilled to let everybody know that our campus food pantry has moved locations. We were able to secure a new location in the student union just down the hall from the mailroom. So it's much more centrally located. It is not split between 2 spaces. If you've ever seen the space over in Dunn Hall, some of that was in the bricked entranceway at about a 35-degree slope. So we're thrilled to have, we just had a board meeting yesterday, and it's a terrific new space. It gives us some room to expand. We're in the process, obviously, of messaging students, and we're looking at March 1st to do a grand reopening of the food pantry, along with donation and food drives. So that's really exciting. And lastly, I would just mention that in working with the Student Affairs Committee of Faculty Senate, we have concluded our nomination and selection process for the Chancellor's Awards for Student Excellence. We have selected 2 students in the general category, 1 student in the special category, and we'll put those students forward through the nomination process middle of February to SUNY, and then they have a committee that will determine which or all of those students that receive those awards. So we're thrilled to have had a really challenging nomination process to put forth some outstanding students for consideration to SUNY. So those last 2 items were not on my report, but I thought important to mention. So thanks for the opportunity to report on our great staff and student affairs, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Eric. Questions? I am in the process of getting in touch with SUNY to see if we need their permission to name the food pantry in honor of President Graham. He, as you may remember, when he was part of SUNY Central before coming here, he was in charge of the food insecurity for the whole system. So we think that it would be appropriate to name the food pantry at SUNY Potsdam after Dr. Graham. So I'm not sure if we need permission. Do you know, Nazali?
I just know that we should discuss this offline because it's a fantastic idea. We need to definitely figure out a way to honor him properly, but there may already be someone designated for naming of the food pantry.
Okay.
So you know, I've been speaking with Advancement
Okay.
and others about how to best honor his memory and legacy. What I will share, I believe SUNY Delhi is actually naming their food pantry after him, and they're doing a number of different local and possibly statewide initiatives related to food insecurity to honor his memory. So he obviously had an impact beyond SUNY Potsdam in that space particularly. So that's really great that they're doing that, but I believe we already have someone identified through donor related affairs. And Betty's nodding her head, so she's well aware of this.
Yeah.
But your
Sure.
point is very well taken, and I promise you I'm working on it.
Yeah. We'll figure out the right thing to do. Okay, is there any old business? Hearing none. Any new business to come before the council? Make sure you mark your calendar, April 1st, our next meeting. May 21st commencement. And that's another reason I like Patrick is because he's a Yankees fan.
Long
So,
Go Mets.
oh, Phil, dagger in my heart.
Go Orioles.
There you
Oh,
go, see?
God, you people.
I'm from
Gotta be
Baltimore. What do you
careful.
expect?
I used to like you. Tell me there's no Red Sox fans.
That would be me.
And definitely me. So, yes.
That's okay. We'll just all get along.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for the meeting today. Thank you all for coming. One of these days, we will all be in the same place at the same time. And in the meantime, stay warm, be well, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you very
Bye,
much.
everyone.
Have a
Thank you,
great weekend.
June.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.